What has happened, everybody? James Hancock here. I am here at CinemaCon in Las Vegas. As you can see, I'm in my room in Caesar's Palace. You can see the wind over my shoulder as well as the Venetian. Sorry, I just realized when I look away from the mic to point at things, y'all probably can't hear me very clearly, but this is my first year at CinemaCon, and I just saw The Fall Guy, and not to worry, this will be 100% spoiler-free. The movie doesn't come out for like 3 or 4 weeks, and as they keep telling us here, all the clips that we see, all the trailers that we see, the movies that we see, some of them are not quite finished. Like they might be messing around with color corrections or sound mixing or whatever the case might be. There are even a few little technical details or glitches with the movie early on, but set all that aside, the movie is really entertaining. It was really fun. And it's easy to get caught up in the moment when you're in the Coliseum in Caesar's Palace, which is a triple-decker theater when you're surrounded by exhibitors and distributors and basically just a lot of industry insiders that are rooting for the movie to do well, just rooting for the movie business in general to do well. But I think this movie, it will punch through, and I guess the question remains, how much of the Barbie Ken success for Ryan Gosling will spill over into this movie? Because as soon as I heard that they were doing The Fall Guy, I was like, well, shit. He needs to sing the theme song to the original Fall Guy from the 1980s, because when I was a little kid, I wasn't necessarily like a Fall Guy fanatic, but I did catch it from time to time. It has a very catchy opening tune, and it ran for 113 episodes, and I still think that the title sequence for season 2 is about as good as early 80s TV gets, but I have a bit of a negative bias towards TV shows being turned into movies. There are obviously exceptions, like Brian De Palma's The Untouchables, great exception. Or when Harrison Ford was in The Fugitive, great exception. But in general, I like to see TV making shows from movies just to kind of infer that culture flows from movies as opposed to culture flowing from TV. That's because I'm more of a movie guy than a TV guy. Your mileage may vary. But if I had to zero in on why I think this movie works on the whole, it's real simple. David Leitch was born to direct this. David Leitch started out as a stuntman. He was Brad Pitt's stuntman, I think, 5 times. He was Jean-Claude Van Damme's stuntman on several occasions. He knows what he's doing. And then he graduated from stunt performer to stunt coordinator, like a lot of them do. That's the goal. You kind of climb the ranks or maybe become an assistant director. And then he made the jump to director when he and Chad Stahelski co-directed the first John Wick. Can't remember if David Leitch was uncredited or not, but he definitely helped co-direct that first one. But what's weird is how in the interim, while I've enjoyed Chad Stahelski's movies a little bit more, I see all of David Leitch's movies. Like I watched the trailer for Atomic Blonde probably 150 times. Movie didn't quite live up to it, but I did enjoy Atomic Blonde. I was less big on the Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. I was less big on Deadpool 2, although that did have its moments as well. And I didn't really like Bullet Train one bit, but I think it's safe to say that The Fall Guy, it's his best movie that he's made because it's just a love song to his profession. It's a love song to the performers. It's a love song to the technicians. It's a love song to the gags, whether they're flipping cars. Like they actually set a record as part of the kind of the advertising for this. Hang on, I've got it written down somewhere. They did a cannon roll with a car where it flipped 8.5 times, driven by stunt driver Logan Holiday. And you can tell in a lot of ways this movie is just trying to give credit where credit is due, because if you go back to the earliest pioneers of cinema, like early 1900s, you had stuntmen doing crazy shit. More often than not then with like Model T Fords and like horses and that sort of thing. But stunt people, stunt coordinators, they've been a part of the movie biz from day one. And I really feel like the Academy Award, what they should do, they should have a special ceremony where they go from like 1903 up to the present day and just hand out a shitload of awards to the coordinators as well as to the performers, because they are the unsung heroes, as is alluded to in the original song for Fall Guy. But whether you like stunts with dogs or stunts with people beating the crap out of each other or stunts with boats, like every kind of stunt you can think of is in here. And then in terms of style and tone, it's definitely going for a lighthearted, easy comedy. And Ryan Gosling, for people who saw, was it The Nice Guys, that film that he did with the Russell Crowe, like people already knew that he could do that kind of light comedy mixed with violence and action, but goddamn, he is fucking incredible in this. There's something about his kind of sad puppy dog persona where he's pining for and in love with the director, but at the same time, when like push comes to shove and he needs to do something insane, he is such a complete and total fucking badass. I'd almost kind of given up hope on Hollywood knowing how to depict people in a heroic fashion anymore, but oh my God, Ryan Gosling, he fucking nailed this role. But as we all know, it takes two to tango, and Emily Blunt is fucking angelic in this. And also, hilarious. Like, from watching the trailer, I had a very different idea of where the movie was going to go. I thought it was basically going to be like a 2-hour movie where the director's constantly just like abusing and tormenting the stuntman and making him look ridiculous and foolish and that sort of thing. But this is a full-blown rom-com, and it's a great rom-com. It's a really entertaining rom-com. My only real criticisms about the movie is that perhaps a little long, overstays its welcome. Like, toward the end of the movie, I was like, all right, we know where this is going. Like, stop making it so overly busy and so overly complex. But I would say that it almost completely sticks the landing. It just takes a little while to get going, and it takes a little while to kind of wrap up. But where this movie, where you'll find the sweet spot, is just the most basic premise in the world. Because going back to the TV show from the early 80s, you have a stuntman where on the side he works as a bounty hunter. He's basically moonlighting, doing the kind of jobs that only somebody who's really good at flipping cars and all that kind of stuff can do. And that's where this movie just really takes off. When you basically, if you can see from the trailer, like the premise is huge, like egomaniac movie star's gone missing, and the stuntman needs to find them before the movie flies off the rails. Because in the absence of the star, the first big debut feature for the love interest played by Emily Blunt is going to completely crash and burn. So Ryan Gosling, it's in his interest to help the girl he loves by finding her movie star. But as shit starts getting weirder and stranger and more madcap, he's forced to resort or fall back on all the skills and tricks that he knows as a stuntman. And that's where it's just like, of course he knows how to fly through the windshield of a car, or of course he knows how to take a fall like going out the side of the car, or of course he knows how to work with a dog who's also a stunt person who knows how to respond to certain commands. It's just fucking delightful. And David Leitch, I feel like if he never makes another movie again, I feel like the entire stunt community is just going to say, thank you for shining a light on all the cool shit that we know how to do that basically allow the action genre to exist. I mean, whether you're making war movies or superhero movies or westerns or fucking horror movies, like, you need stunt people to do crazy shit. And I just feel like, The Fall Guy, it delivered. Is it a perfect movie? No, but damn, I laughed out loud at least 15, 20 times. The crowd seemed to be really enjoying it. I have a feeling this movie will be a pretty sizable success when it comes out next month. But just to give you an idea of how much I enjoyed this, there are a few spoilers that I am absolutely dying to discuss. So I think I'm going to wait until the movie comes out in the theater. I have tickets to see it in IMAX in early May. What is the official release date? The official release date is May 3rd. I think my IMAX tickets are on May 1st, but there's one spoiler that was so satisfying that it so completely flies against the grain or the current trends of Hollywood that like where you would expect the movie to go in 2024. And I realize I'm kind of leaving like a dangling thread that I will have to pick up again in a couple weeks' time. But yeah, I just feel like it's unfair when people have seen it at South by Southwest and people have seen it here. I'm not quite sure how widely seen The Fall Guy has gotten. So I'm not even going to do like a spoiler alert or a warning or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it a mystery, but there are some cool surprises in here where I was just like, clapping, sitting back, enjoying the ride. But some of the stuff from the trailer, I think when you see those scenes in context, they're going to become iconic, or at a minimum, meme-worthy. Like the flipping of the double bird while falling back out of the helicopter. Like, all of Ryan Gosling's career has been leading to this point where it captures his screen persona so perfectly, but at the same time, before and after, we're seeing just these killer fucking stunts. And what I loved is how, I don't know the degree to which there's like, some assistance on the part of digital effects and that sort of thing, but you could tell at every turn they're trying to do their best to have practical effects. Real cars flipping, real people falling off cliffs, real people falling out windows, real people doing whatever. And it's just so much more immersive, and it's so much more satisfying, and it's probably a hell of a lot less expensive. I mean, actually, I don't know enough about stunt work or special effects work to know when it's better or more economically feasible to go one route or the other. But if you crave real, genuine stunts performed by real crazy people, you're going to see them in The Fall Guy. So what else can we discuss? Universal. Universal's on a roll. I feel like over the last couple of years, Universal's been not so discreetly shoving Disney aside and saying, you know what, I think we're going to take over the movie business from here, whether that's animation or action movies or whatever the case might be. They just really seem to have their finger on the pulse of the public in a way that Disney used to, but probably has forgotten over the last 5 years. And Universal, they have theme parks. They got all the, I guess, the potential to become as big as Disney. They just got to keep cranking out satisfying movies, because who wants to go to a theme park to ride a ride unless you love the movie that the ride is based on? Like, I would ride a ride based on The Fall Guy. I'm not going to ride a ride based on the Marvels. Sorry, it's just not for me. But The Fall Guy, yeah, it was an entertaining flick, and I just feel like, yeah, Universal, I don't know who's in charge of their production over there right now, but they keep coming up with cool ideas, like making Super Mario Brothers into a movie last year, or making Oppenheimer into a movie last year, and now The Fall Guy. I need to look at the rest of the release calendar or schedule. Actually, I'll be seeing a presentation by them either tomorrow, Wednesday, or Thursday. I don't have my schedule in front of me, but tomorrow, in terms of presentations, I'll be seeing a presentation by Crunchyroll. They do a lot of cool animation in Japan, which I like Demon Slayer. And I'll also be seeing the Warner Brothers presentation tomorrow. There's a Paramount one. Who else has got one? Anyway, there are a bunch of people doing presentations over the next couple days, showing trailers, all that good stuff. There's one thing, though, about CinemaCon that which I did not like. Before the movie started tonight, they decided to do kind of, I guess, like a presentation about some of the premium formats out there. Premium formats that I do not like. I mean, when it comes to premium formats, I like, IMAX. I like Dolby. I like anything that makes the screen bigger and clearer and better and the sound better. I'm all for it. Where I don't like premium formats is where we get into the gimmicks, like Screen X, which they were acting like it was so cool. All Screen X does, it takes like the last 2 millimeters on either side and then stretches it up the side of the walls. Like, it adds nothing creatively. It adds nothing thematically. It just adds additional kind of stimulation. But for me, it's just a huge distraction when you see something in the Screen X format. I don't think Screen X is going to be the gimmick that can save cinema. And I really fucking despise 4DX. If I want my chair to shake, I will ride a roller coaster. I will go skydiving. I will go bungee jumping. I will do something where I want to have an out of my seat experience. I don't think that shaking my chair around and like having little fart sprays in my face and like the room smelling like pizza, that's not going to make a movie more enjoyable. And I feel like at best, all these gimmicky formats, they will have, short-lived bursts of enthusiasm by the audience, but those gimmicks will wear out very, very quickly if you don't have great movies. Basically, those gimmicks are almost like parasites, because in the absence of a great movie or a host, they have nothing to latch onto. Like, are you going to go see a 4DX movie where it's just nothing but gimmicks the entire way through, just showing off the technology? Hell no. You want a real story. Like, in the end, what will save cinema is heart, like great writing, great performances, interesting ideas, original screenplays, great drama, great exhilaration, heightened states of emotion. These little gimmicks, some people are happy to pay $40 for the experience, but they are not my thing. But according to the guy who works for 4DX, he says they are building more screens in America. So shame on you to all of you out there who are going to see 4DX. Like, I get if you're taking a row full of 7-year-olds to see a DreamWorks animated film like Kung Fu Panda 4, who cares? But I don't want it to be a situation where the only premium formats available are 4DX or ScreenX. I want IMAX and Dolby to remain the premium formats of choice. In any case, it's time to edit this video because I want to sneak down to the casino room floor and shoot some dice, shoot some craps before tomorrow. So thank you so much for listening to my little rambling reaction or rant. Like, obviously, it's frustrating to hear a review this far in advance, but I'm excited. I'm here at CinemaCon. It's my first year, so I just wanted to share my initial thoughts about the experience, and hopefully I'll be back in your face over the next couple days with a few more videos about whatever I see, hear, or learn while I'm here. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the notification bell, hitting subscribe, hitting like, all that stuff. You know the drill. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. But more importantly, as always, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.